Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. This is the Just Nicking It weekly show. Countdown to the training camp. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. 20 days until training camp. So tonight we're talking about whether or not the Knicks are better. We're going to talk about it in terms of our position. We'll go through the guards, the forwards, the centers. Are the Knicks better in terms of skill set, shooting, creating shots, rebounding, etc.? We'll talk about some other Knick narratives. The Knicks initially in trade talks for Harden. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about FIBA. We'll talk about Bleacher Report ranking the Knicks players 14 through 1. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. Appreciate y'all. All right. Jerrell, Geoff, Ajay, how you guys doing? Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us. David L, Deron, Wayne, Knicks are nice, Mega NYK. How's everybody?
Salute to everybody, man. Happy to be
salute.
Salute.
Yeah.
Happy football day for everyone.
Amen.
Yes. Might be a light show. Everybody watching the football game, right?
Exactly. A lot of people watching the game.
Yep. Shout out to Phil from, I always get their name right. I always say Knicks Morning Brew, but I think it's the Morning Brew Crew.
Yeah.
I was on their show earlier today. Knicks Nightcap. Great concept. We have some really creative people in this community. And I was on with him and Ebony, Mad Knick fan. Shout out to you, Ebony. Great show. And maybe, just maybe, Ebony will be joining us on the Queen's Court. We shall see.
Nice. I wasn't really that like, I think I've seen her a couple times, but I wasn't really that familiar with her stuff. But she was pretty dope. That was a good show.
Yeah. It was a good show. I know she does the spaces. I think tonight the Liberty play.
Okay.
I'm missing a game. I'll catch it in the morning. So in her spaces on Twitter, after every Liberty game, she does a post-game show called Ballin' with the Queens. So shout out to Mad Knick fans.
Nice.
Nick fan.
Cool.
You can follow her on Twitter at Mad Knick fan. One word. All right. Let's get into it. Dripmore's in the house. R. De La Cruz in the house. All right. Before we get into our main topic, let's just run through some of these lesser topics. Any thoughts on the reports that the Knicks were in on initial thoughts for James Harden? Then once they saw what the price was, they backed off. I'm okay with it. I don't want any part of James Harden. Listen, he may not be who he used to be, but he still averaged 21 points, 10 assists, and I don't know how many rebounds. He's still a really good player. The thing with Harden that I don't like, if he ever gets dissatisfied, he's going to hold your franchise hostage.
Yep.
That's what I don't like about James Harden. But even though he's not who he used to be, he could still be helpful for the Knicks. But I'm just not with that.
Right. Well, I agree. I actually agree 100% with you. Even though he obviously is an perennial all-star, future Hall of Famer. He's obviously an upgrade from Grimes, but for this particular team, I would definitely rather not have James Harden on it, especially like we was the youngest team in the playoffs. Like I remind everybody of that all the time. Like James Harden impressions on one of the youngest, hottest teams in the league, I don't see that working well at all. So, yeah, because of the price, I'm kind of glad the price was high. Like don't hit the snooze button on Donovan Mitchell and then give me James Harden. I'd have been pissed. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'd have been mad.
Yeah. And even though the Knicks window is now,
right, that's putting all your eggs in the same
right.
basket, like right now.
Because you would have to give up a lot, to get them. Yeah.
Yep. Especially from Daryl Morey. And it's somebody playing the same division. Nah, I don't see it. I'm glad it didn't happen.
Right. Anybody else?
I think the thing about Harden to me is he's just not a great postseason player. Like I don't see Harden as a guy.
Talk to me, Geoff.
who elevates his game and his team. He's been on a lot of really talented teams that always seem to fall short. I mean, my biggest James Harden playoff memory is him getting blocked by Manu Ginobili from behind to cost Houston the series against the Spurs. I mean, and he's come up small, shooting the ball in a ton of playoff games. Like we're trying to build a team that's going to win a championship. And to me, he's a locker room cancer, and he's a diva. And as you guys have already said, and I just, he's a great regular season player. He's won the MVP, but we're always talking about what's going to get us to the next level in the playoffs. And James Harden ain't it, as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. Talk to me, Geoff. Yep.
I'm surprised the Knicks even showed interest in James Harden, because they
even took the call, right?
The call. I mean, we have a coach like Tom Thibodeau whose claim to fame is defense, right? I mean, James Harden's like zero defense. Like, he does not play defense. He doesn't make an effort. There's no shame in his game, and that's just not what he does. All right, he'll grab some rebounds for you, but he ain't checking nobody. Okay, right. I don't see how those two would work together in the same franchise. So, I'm glad we didn't go for James Harden.
Yeah, maybe they was just doing their due diligence, right? Yeah. Like if it was one of those Bradley Beal trades where they was just really trying to get rid of him. But it wouldn't have helped their salary cap, I don't think. So,
yes,
I'm glad it didn't happen.
That didn't work out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's move on. There was an article, I forgot where I read it. If somebody in the chat remembers, let me know. I don't know if it was Bleacher Report, if it was someone else, somewhere else, about the Knicks having one more open roster spot. They might leave it open, but some thoughts about whether or not they should kick the tires on Taj Gibson or Ryan
Arcidiacono.
Come on,
Arcidiacono. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I didn't hear about that until you had told me before the show started. I don't know, man. We've been talking about having a backup power forward, and Taj Gibson fits THIBS criteria perfectly. So if they do it, I would not be shocked at all. But Ryan Arcidiacono, yeah, I'd be shocked. Like, I could see him being a camp body, but I don't see him making the team. But Taj would mess around and make the team.
Yeah. Now, the Brunson effect for Ryan, that is Brunson's best friend, Freezy pointed out.
At least one of them. At least they got I don't know. He's one of his friends, but Dante DiVincenzo is his real best friend. Like, that was his roommate in college. So, but they're all friends. They all went to the same school, obviously. So, like I said, I could see him being a camp body, but to actually make the team over somebody else, like whose spot is he taking? Unless it's like maybe Deuce or something like that. And I think people would be pissed if he took Deuce's spot.
Right. But what I'll say about Taj before I get to Geoff and Ajay is, what about Roby? What about Nathan Knight? Like, do we need Taj, Gibson? He might even beat them out.
That's what I was about to say. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, Taj will mess around and actually make the team. Like, he might can beat one of them young dudes. They're not all that. Like, I mean, I know Taj Gibson's a little longer in the tooth, but them dudes is career backups. Like, they're not starters either. So, like, I can see Tom Thibodeau picking him definitely over Nathan Knight. Like, I don't see the connection with THIBS and Nathan Knight at all.
Don't tell Freezy. Freezy was all super high on Nathan Knight today.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, before we got Nathan Knight, most of the people didn't even know who he was.
And some people still don't.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Amen.
You're absolutely right.
Still don't.
But even though I actually wouldn't want Taj on the team, I would like a better backup power forward, but I can see him making the team. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Geoff, then Ajay.
I just kind of assumed that we would be getting another Exhibit 10 kind of a player to fill that spot. I never really, I kind of feel like the 15 folks that they want to have on the team are kind of there. And I could be mistaken on that, but I just kind of feel like it's just kind of that empty roster spot. Give somebody a chance, maybe, you know, sign somebody to another Exhibit 10 so they can get a little bit of extra money if they play 60 games at Westchester, you know, that kind of a thing where it gives them a you know, some extra coin in their pocket, and you do somebody a solid. You know, we play a 9-man rotation anyway. You know, are the 14th and 15th spots really going to be, you know, that important? I mean, look, if we want Taj Gibson, we can pull him off the street anytime we want to. I mean, he doesn't need a training camp invite. If they decide they want to bring Taj back and he's not working, he'll be in the door the next day, and Thibodeau will know what he has. And there's no question if Gibson's on the team that he's in front of Roby and Knight and every other. I mean, he may not be in the 9-man rotation, but he's definitely ahead of every one of those young guys. And I would say he's probably ahead of Jericho Sims too, just because he not to say knock on Jericho Sims, just that he has Thibodeau's trust. He's Thibodeau's guy, and if he has any gas left in the tank, you know, Tibbs is going to run him down to E.
Yeah.
What I'll say about the guys outside of the rotation, they might be important in terms of injuries, right? Like if Mitchell Robinson or Hartenstein doesn't go, that next power forward big is up for minutes, whether that's Sims, whether that's Taj, whether that's Nathan Knight. And the same thing with Quickly and Brunson. If one of them get hurt, you know, I guess you can run DiVincenzo, you know, at point guard. And we could talk about this after Taj. And I asked Freezy this: is McBride ready? Because those situational guys during the course of a season, 82 games, situations arise. You know what I mean? So at some point, your situational guys are going to have to step in. And so the question is, are our situational guys good enough to give us the minutes we need if a starter or a second unit guy goes down? But we could talk about that a little later. Ajay?
Listen, if we had to pick between Archie Diacono and Taj Gibson, first of all, I don't even know why they talking to another. Why they even want to bring another 6'3" guard? Like, because we're not small enough. Like there's be no point. We do need size up there, and of course we know Tibbs' relationship with Taj Gibson and his trust in him. And quite frankly, I kind of like Taj Gibson as a player. I think he fits perfectly in what Tibbs wants to do. And he puts, he leaves it on the floor every time he plays. He puts his best effort forward. So I wouldn't have a problem with Taj Gibson if we had one roster spot to throw somebody in there. And quite frankly, I don't know the other players. Roby, I've seen him play a couple of times. I don't fully know him. And Knight, I don't. If I had to trust somebody in there, I would have no problem putting Taj Gibson for like 8-10 minutes a game, to grab a couple of rebounds. And lately he's been shooting threes a little bit better too. So I wouldn't have no problem putting him in there for like 8-10 minutes a night if we need to. So
yeah. Honestly, I forgot all about Sims, and Taj is better than Knight, Roby, and Sims.
Yeah. But I would agree with that. But the last time we saw him for extended time was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Do you think he's still that same player? I mean, we did see him the few times that we played Washington. I just wonder how much he has left in the tank.
I think from just my bad, actually, I just think from a what he does standpoint, or compared to the other players that we've mentioned, he's still better than them. Mm. That's why they're not really good basketball players. Like they're career backups. Like I don't think Sims will ever be able to do what Taj can do. He's just bigger and stronger because he's younger, obviously, and more athletic. Right. But from a basketball standpoint, I don't think he will ever be at the level Taj Gibson is. And Taj Gibson isn't even, wasn't an all-star caliber player. Like these, I guess this is indicative of the players that we're talking about.
Right.
Taj he's not all-star, but he is a solid player.
Right.
And then, but Queen, to answer your question, we wouldn't want Taj Gibson for extended period of time.
Right.
You know, we want him for a couple of minutes, like, you know,
Right.
totaling 7, 8 minutes, 10 minutes max.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, he would give you great production in that little time slot.
Yeah, because listen, chances are Mitch may miss games.
Yes.
So if Mitch misses games and Hartenstein moves into the starting lineup, who's the backup big? You know, if last season it was Sims, and I thought Sims did fine.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I thought Sims did okay. But let's go to the guard position. How are we feeling about McBride as a situational player if Brunson or IQ can't go?
I mean, Deuce is obviously a big question mark because of his offense. Like, nobody has a problem with his defense. So when we talk about Deuce being ready, it's always on that side of the court, on the offensive side. So I don't know. I don't know if Deuce will ever be ready to be the type of point guard that can run a team, but to be a good backup point guard that can play, you know, defense and be smart on the court. Somebody like Pat Bev, I think that's pretty much his ceiling, but I just don't know if he's there yet. Like, he has to be smart on the court, not just on defense. He has to be smart on offense too, even if he's not scoring, because he's not going to be a scorer. Like, that jump shot needs work, obviously, and his aggressiveness. But I mean, Deuce can play. It's just that, is he ready yet? That's a huge question mark going into the season.
And I think his shot is one thing, but him running the team is like, even if you have a
Right.
point guard, like you think about Elfrid Payton, he couldn't shoot, but he can run the team, you know, and he played good defense. And I think with McBride, yeah, shooting is part of it, but the other part of it is that whenever he's in the game, they have another ball handler in with him. Now, is that just Tibbs not trusting him, or is that them seeing that he's not ready to run the team yet? That's going to be interesting. As far as his shot, I just want to say his second season at West Virginia, I think he shot 40% from three, if I'm not mistaken. In the G League, I was surprised. He's only played 7 G League. Now he's shooting like 47% from three or something like
Right.
that in the G League. But he's only played 7 games. I could swear he played more than that.
Yeah, I honestly don't think Deuce belongs in the G League. I think he's he's right in between, right on the cusp of being too good to be in the G League, but not good enough to get like rotation minutes on a playoff team. Like, we have to think about what type of team we have now. I understand that we're young, but we're a playoff team now. I expect us to make the playoffs for the next couple years, as long as Jalen Brunson is here. So yeah, I don't know if he's good enough to get rotation minutes on a team like that. But he's definitely too good to just be stuck in the G League, though.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. I was just mentioning his shooting in the G League, that
Right.
he shot 40% in West Virginia. He shot from three his second season. He shot 47% in the G League from three.
Mhm.
So I'm just saying, is it a confidence thing? Like, what is it about the shot? Because we're not even talking about contested shots. Though the G League sample size is small. It's only 7 games. I thought he played much more than that in the G League.
Right.
His first season with his rookie season, I thought he played more.
But like you always say, it's a different level. Like
Yeah.
Marcus Smart was known as an offensive player in college. Came to the NBA and, you know, seemed like he can't play offense at all. So I guess we'll see.
That's true. That's true. Anybody else want to comment before I get into the next?
Thing about Deuce is a couple things on that. First of all, you know, with unless you're talking about both Brunson and Quickly being out, you're not talking about needing Deuce for a heavy dose of minutes. You know, because if Brunson is out and Quickly is still there, Quickly's probably going to play 35, 36 minutes. You know, and then DiVincenzo's not a starting point guard, but you could probably throw him in for 5 or 6 minutes in a pinch if you had to. And the other thing is that, please chat, double check me on this, because I don't know where to find the stats from, but I remember something crazy that, like, when Deuce plays more than 18 minutes per game, his shooting numbers are a lot better for some reason. So maybe it's just one of the guys who has to get in a flow, and has to soak in some time on the court as opposed to just coming in for 2 minutes and be a sniper. That's hard to do. Come on the bench cold and just hit shots. So maybe that has something to do with it too. And if my memory is incorrect on that, chat, please correct me. But I kind of feel like I saw a stat somewhere, and I don't know. I wish I could remember the source on it, y'all. That when he's gotten like 18 plus minutes per game, his shooting number, and that's a small sample size too, just to be fair. But he's been better in those games, and the Knicks have been good when he plays extended minutes as far as wins and losses.
Yeah. I kind of agree with Jerrell in the sense that we're a different type of team right now. In terms of a playoff team, and I don't know if he's quite there yet. Ajay?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
What's the question?
Just McBride's readiness if Brunson or Quickly went down. Are you confident with him coming in and absorbing some of those minutes, or do you feel like you're just going to increase the minutes of Grimes and Chinzo and whoever's left?
Right now, so Deuce McBride in limited minutes could be very effective defensively. Listen, it's sort of a quagmire with him because, and Geoff just mentioned, when he plays 18 minutes or more, his offense is better. The problem is, like, you don't have 18 minutes for him on a regular basis, and to play 18 minutes for him to get to that point, I mean, it's kind of tough to let him run the team for 18 minutes, to get him to where he's comfortable offensively. But because he hasn't shown that he could run the team for that long. He could do it in spot minutes. He could do it in 2-3 minute stretch, over a period of time. But to say, here, you're starting and you're going to play the first, you're going to play like 20, you're going to play like the main point guard on his team. I don't think he's ready for that yet. I just don't think he's ready for that yet. And it's a problem. Like, how does he get ready without putting him in those situations, to get him to the point where he's comfortable in running the team? So.
But you show that in practice, though. Like, if you're running the team in practice and you're making the right plays, and I get it that once you get in the game, it's another level.
It's a different story.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But you got to show some competence in practice first before you even get the chance in the game. No.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't think confidence is a problem with him. Like
show some competence in practice that you can run the show, the plays, how to direct whatever before you get a chance in the game.
But he's shown that, though. He's shown that in practice. I'm sure he showed that in practice, but he's also showed in the G League that he can run a team. It's just that when on the NBA floor, for some reason, it's just not translating onto the NBA for him. But in the G League, he's been able to do that very effectively.
I knew Deuce wasn't ready when he wasn't playing against Miami, because we was in drastic need of ball handlers, and THIBS just had him on the bench. So, like, that's how you can tell that he doesn't trust Deuce. And I don't really blame him. Like, when he gets on the court, because I really, really like Deuce, but I'm not sure if I'm confident enough for him to be running the team on a consistent basis. Like, if he was our backup point guard and averaging like 25 minutes a game, like Quickly, I don't know how good Deuce would be in the long run. At least not yet. But I do like him, though. I really do like Deuce.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll get spot minutes. I know that's not something that THIBS believes in. I know that's not part of his philosophy, but I would really like to see him. Somebody said that Knicks are nice. I didn't see that Knicks are nice. I said spot minutes first. Then I looked on the chat and I saw you said spot minutes.
Knicks
are nice.
But I know that's not a big part of Tim's philosophy, but I would like to see him in, spot minutes when guys just don't have it. And that's a tough spot to put somebody in also, to be honest. Like a guy's just going off and quickly doesn't have it, and Brunson doesn't have it defensively. Grimes or DiVincenzo doesn't have it defensively. And you're going to bring McBride and Cold off the bench.
Right.
It's a tough spot, but yeah, I would like to see it. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. All right. Any thoughts on FIBA? What do you guys think about a possible, and we're going to get to the main topic. I just want to get these lesser topics, so to speak, out the way first. What do you guys think about a possible FIBA USA versus Canada? I know tomorrow we play Germany, and if we win, and if Canada wins versus Serbia, then we can see a USA Canada FIBA final.
I mean, to keep it real, I guess since football season has started, I haven't been paying attention to FIBA like I usually am. So I don't know. Obviously, because we're Knicks fans, it will obviously, be the International Knicks Bowl, because we'll be looking at RJ on one side and be looking at our other guys on the other side. So for us, it'll be a huge game just to see how they play against each other. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I don't want to say I don't care and it doesn't mean anything, but yeah, it means something if you really care about international competition. But I will obviously watch the game, but the outcome of the game, I for lack of a better phrase, I don't care. I'm not gonna
lie. Right. Yeah. I hear you. That game tomorrow, if the USA plays at 8:40, if I'm not mistaken. And does Canada play before or after that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No. I have no idea.
I will say about if that does happen, Canada has some defensive studs on that team. And Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Dylan Brooks, and
who claimed that he's the best perimeter defender in the world. I saw that today.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Self-proclaimed. He said he's the best perimeter defender in the tournament, in the world, in the whatever. It doesn't matter. He's the best perimeter defender.
What is wrong with that guy?
I mean, you gotta think about it. Like he's pretty good. And if I'm Dylan Brooks, I would probably say the same thing, to be honest. Like, what else he gonna say? He's not good at anything else, AJ. Like, that's his calling card. Like that's the reason he's in the league in the first place. So I don't know. We'll see. But he was talking. He was already talking the talk today.
Wow. Canada, 4:30 a.m. Appreciate you. What is that?
Luke Skywalker,
Skywalker Visions. All right. Appreciate you. 4:30. I'll catch them when I wake up. On the rebound. Anything else about FIBA? What about Phil? You guys, I was on Phil's show from Morning Brew Crew. He has a show called Nick Nightcap, and I was on that show earlier. And he asked me about Brunson, whether there was any concern that he's not playing as well as he did in exhibition, and he hasn't been as efficient as he was in exhibition. How much stock, if any, do you put into how guys are playing in international play? Or do you see it as something totally different, and they can go and stink up the joint and it doesn't mean anything as far as you're concerned?
I don't know. To me, I think it depends on who you are. Like we knew what Melo did when he played the international play with the Olympics. I mean, Melo was the man on those teams, but I don't know if I believe that international play would just carry over like that, then RJ would be really, really good next year, and Brandon Ingram would be like a semi-bum. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I only take it with like a grain of salt. Like I know they're playing basketball and it's real basketball, but to me, it's still not the NBA. The rules have changed. They're playing against teams that they can't even scout damn near. Sometimes it depends on who they are or what country they are playing.
Right.
So they're not familiar with them like they are, other people in the NBA. So I don't put that much into it, but it is something. Like they're playing basketball. So
yeah, I don't put any stock in FIBA. I don't think that there's any translation one way or the other. I think it's good for them to be out there playing against good players, but he's other than Josh Hart, he's not playing with anybody he's going to be playing with,
Right.
during the regular season anyway, unless he can recruit some of those boys. Anthony Edwards would be nice, but
oh my goodness, he don't even look like the same guy who came into the NBA. I said, "Who's this guy on the team?" He just looked physically. He looks totally
big,
different,
right? He looked like he looked like his older brother or something. He don't look like Ant-Man no more.
It's true.
No, so definitely. So from that standpoint, I don't put a lot of stock in. I mean, Evan Fournier is a FIBA All-Star. He's had great performances in FIBA in the past, and he's still, not a bad basketball player, but he's still, a one-sided basketball player. I'll call him that. And so, I think you are who you are in some aspects. So I will say this: there are some things that I've seen out of RJ Barrett that if and that's a big if, a monster-sized if, they can translate to the NBA game, he'll have a much better season.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
That dunk through contact the other day, that was a nice play. That's what I want to see. Go to the hole with authority, finish strong, and get the foul, make the free throw. Give me a steady dose of that, and I'll be a happy camper.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, my thing with FIBA is two things, right? First of all, I don't want neither one of our guys to get hurt messing around over there,
Amen.
playing in FIBA. Second of all, you know how RJ Barrett always starts slow and then like by Christmas or after the New Year he's like different. So I'm hoping in his head the season already started in FIBA. So by the time we get here, by the time we get in October, he's already in mid-season form, and then we get the good RJ Barrett. That's what I'm hoping for him right now.
Yeah.
International play got that dude Hollis Jefferson looking like Kobe. And he's not even he's not even in the NBA anymore. So I don't know. I'm playing basketball, but I mean it's not the NBA.
Yeah, you're right. Because I was thinking like, wow, why he could be on the Knicks.
Right.
You're right. When I saw him, I was like, no, we can use him. He could take them backup minutes.
Like he playing in Tel Aviv somewhere. I don't even know who he's playing, but he's playing overseas now somewhere.
Right. For those who saw the Nick Nightcap show, this might be a repeat, but I've been impressed with Brunson's different role on the team. In the exhibition season, you saw him scoring, a lot. The exhibition, FIBA exhibition. But now that he's on the team, his role is more running the team. He'll score if he needs to. He's not really looking. His role is much different than, on the Knicks. And it's just good to see that he can play a different role. Like if he's not scoring, he can still run your team. He can still run the pick and roll. He can still get those slip passes. He still has good vision. He can play off the ball like he's playing with Ant-Man. Sometimes Ant-Man brings up the ball and Brunson is playing off the ball. So it just made me think that if the Knicks got another bona fide scorer, Brunson could still be effective in our offense.
Yep.
I don't know Dame Lillard if you told him don't score. We don't need your scoring. We just need you to run the team. I don't know how effective he would be. That's like his right hand. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he can't score, but that's just such a big part of what he does and what makes him him. I'm not saying that he can't run a team. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the scoring, that's just makes Dame. For Brunson, I think he can score if you need him to score. But if you don't need him to score, he can just run the team. and play off of guys. And so I just started to say, maybe he's not a scoring point guard. Maybe he's just a point guard that can score if you need him to. But if you don't need him to, he can still have a significant impact on your team. Like those passes he was making with Jaren Jackson Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, look at Brunson. You know, the vision is there. And I think as our team gets better, I really see him taking he can take a step back. Whether he will or not, that's another story. But he can take a step back and still be impactful. Any thoughts on that? Or do you think like, nah, we still need that? No matter what, we still need that scoring from Brunson.
I think it depends on, like you said, the other players on the team. Like, say if we did get upgrades, I mentioned before the show, say if we did trade for Paul George, I don't think he'll be taking as many shots as he did this past season. Or if we got somebody like Brandon Ingram, or somebody like that, somebody that can score and put buckets up. But if, you know, next year, if Quentin Grimes doesn't take a step up and actually show his assertiveness in scoring, then it will be the same on Brunson. But like if Quentin Grimes and Josh Hart, for that matter, shoot more and be more comfortable in the offense or whatever, I think I can see him taking a step back that he doesn't have to score that much. At least, you know, throughout the season. In the playoffs, that might be a different story. I might want him to score an average 30 a game, depending on, you know, how the other dudes are playing. But during the season, I don't think Jalen Brunson has to play the Allen Iverson role every night.
Okay. Good point. Anything else on this subject? Or FIBA at all?
Nah, I think a lot of people are FIBA'd out. Like, how long is this? Like, when is it over? Like, it seems like it's been going on forever. It did not just start. I think because I'm thinking about like the
it wasn't even a month.
The exhibition games. Yeah.
I'm thinking about the fake games too. The fake games lasted for like 2 or 3 weeks.
It was less than a month.
Yeah, I don't think it started till the 26th. The actual games, probably the 25th or the 26th of August, something like that. But you're right, the exhibition games.
Yeah, but that's long enough too. Like it's a tournament that lasts like 3-4 weeks. Yeah, it's football season. I'm ready for it to be over.
Can't have too many things going on at the same time. We got basketball and football. Now you want to throw in FIBA and a little soccer and a little WNBA. It's a lot. That's a lot.
I'm ready for the real, like I keep on saying it's football. I'm ready for the real NBA basketball season to start up too, because they run neck to neck with me throughout the season. Like once October starts, that's when I know I'm gonna be able to watch both.
Right. All right. Let's get into our main topic of the day. I just want to put this up first. This is the countdown to training camp. Training camp starts September 27th. So there's 20 days until training camp. Preseason game. Our first preseason game is October 7th versus Boston at Madison Square Garden. October 14th versus Minnesota. Again, Madison Square Garden. October 17th at Boston. October 18th versus Washington at MSG. And then we play Boston the first game of the season. That's a lot of Boston.
Weird. We already played them 4 times during the season, and we scheduled 2 preseason games with them. Like,
yes.
It's weird.
I mean, and I get it, you know, that these are high level teams, but couldn't we play a high level team in the Central Division or
to me, I'm thinking like it's because of travel. Because we're so close together, and they didn't want a lot of travel during the preseason.
That's true.
I can see
That's
that.
True. That's true.
But yeah, I'm tired.
Minnesota to New York isn't close.
Yeah, I'm just talking about like they had to.
But Minnesota's coming. Yeah, Minnesota's traveling though.
Yeah, but we gotta, get what we can get. We only got to go to Boston. Boston comes here, and then we just got to go to DC. So the furthest place we do have to go is Minnesota. That's just pretty much one road trip the whole preseason.
No, the versus games are at home.
Oh.
So we only got to go to Boston. We got 3 home games and one game at Boston.
So we basically don't travel at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right, so we
Just
don't
a
travel at
short
all.
trip up I-95.
Right.
Up to 95. That's it.
Right. And the deadline, for those who are interested, the deadline to sign Emmanuel quickly to an extension is October 24th.
You can cross that out. I don't think he's gonna get no extension by then.
If he doesn't, they cannot sign him during the season, and he will become a restricted free agent. Now, I've seen reports though that I've seen a report though, I should say, that the Knicks that negotiations will pick up in September. For what it's worth.
It's been September.
Yeah.
Like we going in the second
We're
week
a third of the way into
now.
September,
You know
nearly.
what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't buy that. Like, I think if they were really negotiating, I think they'll let that leak. Like the Knicks aren't good when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, is that even a thing that they not? Could they not extend him? That's crazy to me.
Sure. I actually don't think they are.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're gonna let him go to unrestricted free agent.
I mean, you could still sign him in restricted free agency. It's just that you're not, somebody else is setting the pay scale.
But
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm about to say,
go ahead.
you have to remember, I'm the one who said that I think that Dante DiVincenzo might be his replacement.
Yes, you did.
So
You said
throughout
that
the
several
season,
times.
throughout the season, they could still trade IQ. If Dante DiVincenzo is actually playing well, then yeah, I wouldn't extend him either. Like, as soon as we got him, I kind of figured we weren't going to extend him. He'll be a trade piece, or we could see how the year goes, and then we'll sign him in free agency.
Well, and remember too that if you give him the extension, it's essentially a no trade clause for the season.
Exactly.
Because then you're talking about base year contract compensation in a trade, and those trades are possible, but they're very complicated because you can only take back what what his current salary is, and you're sending out, what he's extended for. So that makes those they're doable, but they're very tricky, and they usually involve a third team that has empty cap space, like the Spurs or someone like that, and you have to sweeten the pot with draft capital usually.
That's why we knew RJ wasn't going anywhere last year.
It's
the same thing.
It's crazy to me that they rushed and signed RJ before they had to, and then they don't sign Emmanuel quickly.
But they hit snooze on the Donovan Mitchell trade. That's why. Remember, it came out the same day. So
it's just basketball wise, it's just crazy to me.
Okay. But yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, we've seen them play. I don't know about who's got the highest ceiling, but I think Emmanuel quickly has been more productive in like per minute, like more efficient than what we've gotten from RJ.
Oh, no question.
Okay. I see what you mean. You talk about just compared to Okay, I see.
It's crazy to me that they would run and like quickly sign RJ Barrett, but then not do the same for Emmanuel quickly. I don't know. It's just, what are they seeing that we're not?
He was the third pick of the draft.
Jerrell, we know that don't mean nothing.
I mean, it don't mean nothing to us, but it actually do mean something to some fans. A lot of fans actually think we were supposed to just give the keys to RJ because of that.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that our front office thinks that, but that could be a factor. Like, they actually think that RJ has a bigger ceiling still, or higher ceiling still, I should say. Never know how they feel in that building.
Yeah. I'm with Ajay on that, but part of it is not even a quickly RJ argument. The other argument is the Brunson Grimes argument. Like, they don't see him as a point guard, so they bring in Brunson. They don't see him as a shooting guard, so Grimes is starting. So what are you really saying? That you see him as your sixth man for the rest of his career. Like, what are you saying about him? Right? So
the forever six men.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I guess. The thing about it is, if he goes to restricted free agency, they still have the opportunity to match it.
Right.
They still have the opportunity to match it. And even if they don't want to match it, if the other team is amenable, they can still do a sign and trade, to that team. But I read that negotiations would pick up in September and that he would be signed anywhere from 18 to 25 million.
Ooh.
18 to 25. How mad are people if he actually get to 24? Say if he don't get to 25. I want to know how mad people would be. I guess it depends on how much you like IQ, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like him $25 million worth.
I'll be perfectly fine with it for the same reason that I just mentioned. I don't understand. I compare him to RJ Barrett. Like they give RJ Barrett's making $24 million a year. I mean, what's the guy's value to your team? I'd have no problem with IQ getting $24 million just the same.
Yeah, I know what I always say. I would have to look at the salary cap. I would have to look at the salary cap and see what we would what would that do in terms of our flexibility, and especially 2 years from now when we have to give those two guys the max. If it doesn't impact our salary cap, if we still have flexibility, meaning that we haven't reached the first or second apron, you can give them whatever. But I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
Well, see, Queen, the thing that I think about, and maybe I'm wrong, but the thing I think about is that $24 million, that if you are even, let's say you're up against the apron and you can only, in that case, you can only do trades that match dollar for dollar, in which case having a salary that's $24 million may be more valuable than one that's, say, even 18, just because you may be over the cap either way. And so if you want to make that deal for a $60 million player, whomever that may be, and you have two $24 million guys that you can throw in there, that brings you up to 48 right there. And then you just have to find one more salary, probably in the 10 or $12 million range. And that's usually doable. I mean, sometimes it's two players instead of one, but an 8 and a 4 or 6 and 6, whatever.
Right.
But I'm just saying, in the grand calculus of things, that 24 million may not be a terrible figure. I mean, obviously, it depends on how all the other contracts are structured.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Not in a vacuum, because remember, Grimes is coming. Then you got Hart. I mean, excuse me, not Hart. Randle
Hart's
and
extension
Brunson.
kicks in. So
Hart's extension kicks in. And I will say that once you get to the second apron, you cannot aggregate salaries. That's what's going to make it hard. You can't aggregate. It has to be one for one. But anyway, I like Quickly, actually. I know that I'm listening to some people in the chat that's not that high on Quickly. But for me, the eye test, and I was one that was very hard on Quickly his first 2 years. I'm like, who is this guy? This guy's just coming in here checking up shots. Like, what is he doing?
You definitely did not like IQ.
Oh my God. But I thought last season he got his shot selection together. He got his decision making together.
Right.
He ran the team. I'm not saying he was perfect. I think that's something he still has to figure out. When do I go for mine, and when do I, set the team up? Given the last possessions we have, we've got to make sure we get a good shot this time, and that's not always him taking a shot, even though he thinks it is, right? I just thought Quickly was much better. Sure, 1 or 2 times a game he'll dribble out a possession or over dribble and then pass it to somebody late, but for the most part, Quickly was on point to me. When he filled in for Brunson, he filled in, I thought, beautifully. His floor game, that's what I'm more impressed with, his floor game. He struggled to start the season. He did not shoot well. He wound up shooting 37% from three. He might have been shooting 40 something because he started off terrible.
Yes, he did.
His field goal percentage is still not great for a guard. I think it's 44, almost 45%. But then you throw in his defense. I think his defense is underrated. His on-ball defense, his off-ball defense, the way he rotates. You get an opportunity, dig up an old Knick game from this season and watch Quickly for a quarter on the defensive end.
I actually think Quickly is a better defender than Grimes.
I do too. I do too.
He's so underrated.
Yeah, he can guard.
And he communicates so well. I mean, he's a captain on the floor. He's just getting people in the right position, telling them where to be. From a guard, you don't see that very often. That's special.
Yeah. And the space he covers, he'll rotate over and still get back to his guy to contest the shot. Like, where are you seeing that at?
Takes pride in it too. Like he'll like Fred Katz, like he and Fred Katz go back. Did you see what I did? And he's talking about something defensively, like I cut this screen or I did. There were a couple good anecdotes that Fred Katz shared about Quickly, just in his defense and his anticipation and his help and those sorts of things. So it's something he's very cognizant of, and it's something that he's very good at.
Right. And when you go to the advanced stats, the advanced metric, it backs it up.
Yep.
Right.
It backs it up. The Knicks are a better team offensively and defensively when Quickly is on the floor. Look at the on-off numbers. I did it. I took same lineup, take Grimes out, put Quickly in. That lineup is a better defensive team in terms of opponent field goal percentage from different spots on the floor. The Knicks were better across the board. So he makes the team better as well when he's in the lineup. And he was in a lineup, it was a small sample size, maybe like 105 possessions. And I think I mentioned this before. It was Brunson was in that lineup. RJ Barrett was in that lineup. Hartenstein was in that lineup. Randle and IQ. And that team was busting it on the defensive end. Just looking at the stats, I was like, wow. So the stats back it up. I think Quickly is an underrated defender individually and team. Now, you can't put him on small forwards, so you're putting him on point guards and twos,
I think that's what people are watching when they think that Grimes is a better defender. It's because they're pretty much both two guards, but they're built differently and they play different people on the court. That's what I think. But the numbers kind of back up, IQ is a better defender than him. But Grimes, THIBS will stick him on anybody. I've seen him stick him on Pascal Siakam.
Right.
Like he's not going to put IQ on Pascal Siakam, but Grimes can play him. He might be a little more versatile defender. You can say that, but I think Quickly is just better at defense than him.
Right. And the thing about it, like you said, because you could put Grimes on whether you could or not, THIBS does it anyway, on the best play on the floor, he gets the attention. Oh my God, he's playing Butler. Oh my God, he's playing Paul George. Oh my God, he's playing Siakam. So he gets the eyeballs. He gets the the accolades because Quickly is playing, I don't know, whoever the point guard is, that night. But look it up. The Knicks are a better team with Quickly on the floor defensively.
I will say this though, that Grimes steal on Butler on one leg is still one of my favorite defensive plays of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about it.
It was our pretty much highlight of the playoffs, especially that series, except for like Brunson going for like 40 or whatever. That was a very, very dope play. That was good.
Right. Yeah, I hear you, Quiet Money. Quickly only guards point. So we're not talking about versatility.
Right.
We're talking about your assignment, whatever your assignment is. So if you want to say that Brunson has, Grimes has more versatility defensively, I will give you that. But right here, we're just talking about assignment. Who is your assignment, and how are you guarding that assignment? And how are the Knicks guarding when you're on the floor? El Maddox, I appreciate you. Shout out to the chat. Nobody is taking anything away from Grimes. Oh my God. Like, nobody is taking anything away from Grimes. He locked down Butler, though. He locked him down in that particular game. Yes, he did. He didn't lock him down for the series. But listen, I'm not taking anything away from Grimes. But I just think that IQ is an underrated defender. I don't think we appreciate his defense.
Two things can be true. Grimes can be a really good defender and Quickly could still be a better one.
Right.
When I say KD is the best player on Phoenix, am I taking something away from Devin Booker? No. Devin Booker is great in his own right. Some people may argue that right now Booker has surpassed KD.
Right.
I know the chat. Now, David L., I'm with you. We're not talking about defensive versatility. That's not what we're talking about. Grimes has his assignment. Quickly has his assignment. It's not Quickly's fault that he's not 6'8" and he can't guard power forwards. So we're not talking about defensive versatility. We're talking about assignments. Grimes working his assignment. Quickly working his assignment. Quickly is underrated. You got and Quickly actually turned his defense around in his second year. Yep. And I think people may just be getting onto it. But he turned his defense around in the second year.
And it's not just Grimes. He's a better defender than Josh Hart too. Josh Hart just defends like he's more versatile, just like Grimes. He can stick and defend, more different types of players and body types and stuff. But for what they do, I mean, you can argue.
Hart can defend 1 through 4.
Exactly.
Quickly, you can't is 1 and 2, and Grimes is 1 through 3. So but the job that Quickly does on the 1s and 2s is better than the job that Grimes can do on the 2s and 3s, and that Hart can do on the 3s and 4s.
Right.
Yeah. Salute, David G. I appreciate you. Well, listen, the season is about to start up, and you'll have that opportunity to, look at the defense. And remember, on ball and off ball. We're talking both on ball and off ball. All right. Let's get to the topic of the night. Are the Knicks a better team than they were last season? We are doing the countdown to training camp. We got some nice topics. Next week, we're going to do the division series. Are the Knicks better than the Eastern? I don't know how I'm going to frame it, but basically we're going to be comparing the Knicks to the rest of the Eastern Conference and whether or not they've gained ground. And then we'll talk about the season series between each Eastern Conference team, what their record was last year, and this year. Do we think the Knicks will do better in the season series against the Eastern Conference rivals? But that's for next week. This week, are the Knicks better, worse, or the same? So let's talk about it in terms of the position. Now, let me just ask this general question. We haven't made a lot of changes, right? Obi Toppin is out at power forward. Dante DiVincenzo is in at shooting guard. Just in general, what are some ways a team can improve if they haven't made a lot of changes?
I guess, like I brought up before, I said I brought it up a couple times that we were the youngest team in the playoffs. So to me, just by natural progression, we should be better just because of that. Just by our young players actually being better at what they're supposed to be good at. So everybody, at least, well, I wouldn't say everybody expects RJ to make a jump. I guess it depends on how you feel about AJ. But some people actually do expect RJ to make a jump, just like, I mean, because he's still young. So, I mean, we can always guess what his ceiling is going to be, but it's up to RJ what his ceiling is. So, how he's playing with FIBA, if it leapfrog into the regular season, we will have a better RJ. A better RJ will automatically make this team way better than it was last year, but it would just have to be consistent. So, to answer your question, our young players would just have to be more consistent. That's the only way I see us being better without actually changing any personnel. Like, I don't really view losing Obi as a huge change compared to getting Donde DiVincenzo, because I don't think Obi produced enough and he didn't do anything great enough for his absence to be like, felt that much, especially if we're going to have somebody like Dante that's going to score more than Obi, and he's a better defender than Obi, at least for his position. So yeah, I think the only way we will get better without changing anything is that our young players will have to develop more.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So guys taking the next step, if not a leap, is one way for us to better.
I think continuity matters too, though, because you're looking at a team that is running the same system for the third year in a row, and you got a point guard who's in his second year in the system, and you get that familiarity. But also, the longer a team plays together and the more familiar they are with each other, then where you have to put that ball, make that pass, because you've done it a million times. A lot of times when you bring in 4 or 5 new faces, even if it's more talent, it's going to take more time for that team to gel. Whereas with the Knicks, we can just hit the ground running. We've got the same cast of characters. They're familiar with each other. They're good. They're young. They're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So from that standpoint, I think just having the same lineup, same system, same coach, same high expectations, all of those things, I think that's a way that we can improve without having shaken up the roster.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Continuity. We should be able to hit the ground running. I mean, I know DiVincenzo is new to the team, but the Knicks ain't doing nothing super complicated. That he won't be able to pick up. Any other way?
Well, I was gonna mention continuity, and to me, it's very important that those guys have played together. But there are a couple of other reasons I think we're probably going to be better. Is in the past couple of years, Tom Thibodeau has shown his stubbornness haven't been as persistent, so he's shown the ability to kind of change his coaching ways a little bit. And I think that's gonna make him. I don't know if the addition of certain assistant coaches like Rick Brunson and so on and so forth. I think he's more willing. He's been more willing to listen to those guys. Maybe not during games, but in between. So he's shown the ability to kind of be a little bit more flexible than he's been in the past. I think that's gonna make a big difference. And having a guy like Jalen Brunson at the helm that he trusts and that he obviously love and appreciate the guy, I think that's going to make a big difference. Like, I could see him doing something that Jalen Brunson tell him, Coach, I think we better do this. I could see him say, you know what, let's try that, as opposed to being as rigid as he's been and not giving it a shot. I could see him doing that a little bit more so this year. So the addition of DiVincenzo, I think also is going to make a difference. Not because he's better than Obi or not because he's replacing Obi, but because we put a Thibodeau guy that he's actually going to use more than he's used Obi Toppin. I think that's going to make a difference. So this guy is probably going to be more productive. Again, not because he's better than Obi, but because he's being put in a position to be more productive. More minutes on the floor. More be in a position to be more productive than Obi Toppin has been. I think that's going to make a difference. We have guys that we're going to use. We're going to actually use them, as opposed to a guy that is sitting on the bench.
Right.
So I think because of those things, we're probably going to be better this season than we were last season.
Right. Okay. Let's go by position. Let's start with the guards. We got Brunson, we got Quickly, Grimes, DiVincenzo, and McBride. And we just talked about it. DiVincenzo is the only new addition to this guard core. I mean, why I think the guards are going to be different, or why the teams is going to be different, given this guard core, is similar to what Jerrell said. Guys taking a leap. I think Brunson is going to be even better. Last year was his first time as a full-time point guard. He played in the backcourt with Luka. He started, I want to say, 61 of the 79 games, something like that, with Dallas. This is the first time playing the entire season. I think he played 68 games or something like that, but he was the starter for every game that he played. And I think he kind of understands what it takes in terms of stamina, what it takes in terms of physicality, what it takes mentally. And I think he's going to be even better. I just don't know how. Like, I was like, is he going to be, how would I know is he better? Because he's a 90, 50, 40 guy? I don't think that's it. It's hard to quantify like how it better show up for him, because he was really good.
Right.
He was really good. So I'm not sure how better would show up for him, but I just think Brunson is going to be better. I think we're going to be better because I don't think Quickly is. I'm hopeful that Quickly gets off to a good start. It took him at least 25 games, if not more, to find his stride. He didn't look great, to say the least, to start the season. So that's another reason why I think we'll be better. And I think Quickly will be better for most of the season. I hear you, Sherwin. I ain't even looking the chat. I know you I know you saying something about IQ.
Queen,
But
let's not forget Juju. Julius Randle's gonna. I have a feeling he's gonna have a superb season.
We didn't get to the forwards though. The forwards are next, but you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think Grimes is going to be better. I don't know about taking a leap, but I think he's going to take the next step, whatever the next step is for him. And DiVincenzo, I mentioned this on the show with Freezy. I can't say I'm super familiar with DiVincenzo. I'll probably, I have League Pass, so I'll go back and watch some full if I feel like it. If I have like nothing to do, maybe a game or two just to get a sense of DiVincenzo's game. But from the articles I've read, just from highlights and clips, he may surprise some of us. I know the fan base is split. Some things very highly of DiVincenzo, others not so much. So we'll see. I think the minutes distribution, THIBS will figure that out. But that's why I think the guard position, I think, is better than last season, even though the only change is DiVincenzo, because I just think all of those guys are going to take another step.
Right. I think it's going to take a step. Like you said, I agree with you about Dante DiVincenzo. I actually like him. I don't think he's a world beater or anything like that. But like I said, when it came to the Miami series, Dante DiVincenzo definitely plays a lot of minutes in that series. Helps Jalen Brunson with ball handling. A little bit of shooting, too. I think he's a good shooter. He's played in pressure situations in college and in the NBA so far. So I don't see him succumbing to the bright lights of the guard or anything like that. So just because of that, I think he upgrades our guard positions. And like you said, with Quickly, I'm banking on him taking a step up. Like, I think it's natural progression when it comes to these young players. And even though I might not have we didn't get to the forwards yet, like you said. So I might not have like the same, aspirations with RJ or think that he's going to, take a huge leap. I have more faith than quickly taking that leap, even if it's a small one. Even if quickly is a little better than he was last year, I think that would be huge for us on a consistent basis, at least.
Right.
I think to add to what Jerrell said, what I like about the big ragu, as I like to call DiVincenzo, because DiVincenzo is hard to say, but what I like about the big ragu is he's a good shooter from three. I mean, he's going to provide 37, 38%. And you know what? We've got a lot of guys back there who can do that now. Grimes is a career 38% shooter. I know he doesn't do it the night in, night out. He'll go 7 of 10 and 6 of 11 and then 2 for 12 or whatever. I know it runs you nuts, Queen, but overall on balance, he's a pretty good shooter from out there. And the nice thing is when you have a DiVincenzo, if Grimes is having one of those off nights, you just, okay, have a seat, Quentin. We can put Dante in there and he's going to be good. Interesting is that, it's not just DiVincenzo's shooting. Did you know that his total rebounding percentage was about the same as Obi Toppin's was last year?
Really?
From the guard spot, it was like 9.9 versus 9.8 in terms of total rebound percentage. So he's not even a bad rebounder for a small. Which is interesting to me. I was looking at the stats this afternoon, and that struck me as interesting. And so, adding another 3-point shooter to this team, Brunson's a good 3-point shooter. Quickly's a good 3-point shooter. So from the back, if we're not including Barrett as a backcourt player, which I guess for this discussion we're not, that means all of our guards can shoot, and that's not something that we've been able to say since Thibodeau's been our head coach. So I think that bodes well for a guy whose strategy is just shoot a high enough volume of them and we'll be okay because we can offensive rebound. Now we can shoot a high enough volume, and if we can get that percentage up, then you're talking about having an elite offense without being gimmicky,
Right. I agree with you. And it makes us harder to beat. So now if you want to take Mitch, and it's not just Mitch. Mitch has a high offensive rebounding rate, but so does Hartenstein, and so does Josh Hart. When I was looking at the stat, offensive rebounding rate is really good too. And I think Randle, those four are tops for us. But if we're shooting well, if you want to take away the offensive rebounds, if you can, first of all, we're not going to need them. We're not going to need them as much if we're making shots. It's not going to be as many to go around anyway.
True.
And I just think it makes us harder to beat. When Miami took Mitch out the game and Isaiah Hartenstein and whatever, and they really cut down on our offensive rebounding, that really hurt us. That really hurt us because that's a big part of how we score. Ajay? In terms of the guards, do you think we're better as far as the guard? Again, not much changes other than DiVincenzo.
Yeah, I think we're better. There's one more weapon we can use. Like you guys said, he's a decent shooter. He's a decent rebounder. He could bring the ball up. When Jalen Brunson doesn't have to be the one bringing up the ball when he's on the floor. If those two are in, so you have another ball handler out there. And he's not a terrible defender. So it's all positive as far as I can see it. I mean, his size, yeah, but you know what? He's a guard. So I think it's positive. So we're better off with him on the team than what we had last year.
Yeah. And I think we're banking on the growth of Quickly and Grimes. Right? Taking another step.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Let me check in with the chat before we get to the forwards. I start some comments. Knicks won today. New addition, Senzo, Knight, Windler. Don't sleep. Okay. All right. Okay.
Some of them dudes not make the team. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know anything about Windler, really.
Yeah. Paris Duggar doesn't believe we could be better without Obi on that second unit. What was our record with Randle out of the lineup? Okay. All right. Still high on Obi. Okay, I hear you. Tibbs Julian Blum, appreciate you. Tibbs can utilize Chinchio Chenzo better than
Big
Obi.
Raghu.
Right. Better than Obi, even though I'm gonna miss Obi leakouts. Obi came through in a lot of games. Yes. Yes, he has. DiVincenzo never played in the Knicks uniform, and you got him playing well under our pressure environment. I don't know, Paris Duggar, why you think Madison Square Garden is such a pressure cooker, and like people who know how to shoot and know how to play is going to come to New York and fall apart and not be able to do it here. They're coming in on our team. They're not coming in as the opposition.
Yeah.
You know? So I think DiVincenzo was going to be fine playing in the Garden.
He's played in the national championship game in college and the finals in the NBA. So I think he'd be all right when it comes to pressure stuff.
Right. And he'll be playing for our fans. So it's not like he's coming into a hostile environment. They're not going to be hostile toward him. Anthony.
I don't know about that stuff.
You better come correct. You're right. You better come correct.
I don't know about that one. Like when it comes to that, Paris Duggar might be correct. Like it depends on how he's playing. I get that part.
Right. Well, if he comes in and he dives for a few loose balls, like that first 10 games, come in with your hard hat on.
Yeah, get some brush burns. Yeah, everybody.
Then you could get cute after that.
Get some brush burns. They'll love you in Madison Square Garden.
Right. Anthony Manzano. #mob panel. Why do fans have a love-hate relationship with Julius Randle? I'm asking this for a friend who's a hardcore New York Knicks fan that lives in Sarasota. Listen, if you're a hardcore Knicks fan can get YouTube TV, make sure he subscribes to the channel. We're going to answer your question, though. But make sure he subscribes to the channel. There's a lot of Knicks content out here. Anybody want to take that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a love-hate relationship with any polarizing figure on the New York Knicks because we have the biggest fan base in the world. Like Patrick Ewing was a polarizing figure. I know some people that hated Patrick Ewing. I know some people that absolutely loved him. So I think just because he's the best player on the team, or at least one of them, since Jalen Brunson is here, there's some people that don't like Jalen Brunson.
Oh, what?
So
a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
In the chat right now.
Right. It just depends. Like we're the New York Knicks, so anybody that like we argue about RJ, we argue about Mitch, we argue about Miles McBride.
Oh yeah.
Deuce. Like we argue about Deuce and he don't even play.
Yeah.
So
somebody in the chat said that he need to go to China.
Right. Right. But then somebody else in the chat said that Tom Thibodeau was holding him back.
Right.
So that's
he has a Marcus Smart level ceiling.
Right. So that's why you can always, it's either going to be one way or the other way just because we have so many fans. Like you're going to get 1,000 people in the chat at one time saying they hate Julius Randle. What has he done in the offseason coming off an ankle injury? Why he's not, bringing out videos and stuff like that. But then you'll have somebody that love Julius Randle say he's rehabbing and they saw a video on IG and stuff like that. That's how it always goes.
Yeah. And two, I think it's also because of the Julius Randle experience that we've had. In his first year, he was objectively bad. Right. And in his second year, he was objectively great. In his third year, he was objectively bad. And in his fourth year, he was objectively great. And so you have this dichotomy, this roller coaster of performance. And, when you're playing well, everybody thinks you're the hero and you're great. And when you're not, you're a bum. Get out of here, you bum. That's just being a fan, especially a New York fan.
Right. Yep. So when Julius Randle finds out how he wants to play, that's when I'm gonna find out how I want a fan about him, I guess.
Basically,
there you go.
Basically. And this is a tough fan base. If Patrick Ewing can get it, anybody can get it.
Yep.
You know, I think if we had YouTube back there, I think the '73 Knicks championship team would
They'd
have
be
got it.
saying Clyde Frazier was a bum because he didn't have 38 points.
They be talking about his suits, how he wear ugly hats and all that. Like they'd hate Clyde if they had social media back then. He too flashy. Why he always out at night? Like I can hear it now. They would kill Clyde.
Right. No doubt about it. Salute Anthony D. I appreciate you. I gotta have you on, Anthony D. I gotta get your thoughts on the season coming up. Maybe I'll have some guest shows talking about. All right, let's get to the forwards. Are we better at the power forward position now? Excuse me, just small forward and power forward. I have RJ Barrett. I have Josh Hart listed as a forward. I took him out of the guard section. I have Evan Fournier, who I don't think is going to play another minute for the Knicks. And then Obi Toppin is out. Oh, Sims. Nah, I think I put Sims at center.
Yeah,
I put Sims at center. So is that right? I have Hart, Barrett, and Fournier. That's all the forwards we have?
So RJ and Evan Fournier. I mean RJ and Josh Hart, and that's it.
Fournier is a shooting guard, no?
He was a shooting guard, but he'll have to play the
small
3
forward.
Small forward, yeah, for this team. And he was situational last year. Like whenever Barrett didn't play, it was Evan Fournier who got the start. I don't know if that's going to be the same this year.
The crazy part is you was talking about the number of small forwards. Wait till you get to the power forwards. There's only one of those.
No, I'm putting them all together. That's all we got.
Yeah, we got
That's small forward and power forward.
Oh, I didn't hear you say Randle. I'm sorry. I thought you just said
right, Randle. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just said RJ.
God.
You just said RJ and Josh Hart. Like those are the only two small forwards. And then we only got Randle.
I guess you could put Knight, but Knight. I guess we could put Knight in there, even though he's situational. And I guess we could put Roby in there. I don't know if these guys are going to make the team.
Yeah, like I'm not putting. I would not put them on the list, to be honest. No.
Okay. So as far as our forward position, Randle, RJ Barrett, and Hart, those and Evan Fournier. Those who want to count Knight and Roby, you can. If you don't want to count Knight and Roby, you don't have to. Is our power forward position better, or has it been weakened by the fact that Obi Toppin is no longer here to play behind Randle, and whoever plays behind Randle will be undersized? Thoughts on the forward position?
Yeah, I think our forward position is all over the place and terrible at the same time, even though we have an all-star in the category. Like we lost the only backup power forward that we have, and the two small forwards that we have are really two guards playing the 3, so to speak. Like Josh Hart really isn't a 3 to me either. I think he's a 2 guard. I'm like, if we did get a real 3, RJ would probably slide to the 2 guard. So I don't know. Will we get any better? No. The only thing I could say about getting better is maybe because Josh Hart is how he plays with us, and we haven't had him for a whole season yet. So his play will be better. Julius Randle's just coming off ankle surgery, so I don't know how he's going to play yet, especially in the first month or 2 of the season. And RJ, he usually has slow starts, so I don't think it's really looking good at the forward position. So I wouldn't say that we got better. Like I think we got worse, even though I don't think Obi, I don't think Obi was that good, but he was at least a forward.
Right.
Like we need another forward. Like we were just talking about trying to get Taj Gibson back. So yes, we do need another forward on the team.
Let me ask you this about Randle. Anthony D, stop coming in here. You and Freezy from the same, putting rocks in my shoes about why the Knicks didn't try to get Christian
Woods.
Why nobody else tried to get Christian Wood though? It seemed like nobody wanted him.
It's actually Christian Wu because he don't play no D.
No, he does not play defense. He's a very talented offensive player, but he does not play defense. That's right. Like I was
Oh, boy.
actually surprised that he lasted this long. Like,
Wow.
but
I wanted to Jerrell, I wanted to ask you this question about Randle,
Mhm.
as it seems like in that forward position, he's the best anyway.
Mhm.
But but it just drops precipitously after him. Any concern I've heard of read on Twitter, some people concerned that Randle has a good season, not so good season, and that this is now going to be a not so good season if he follows that pattern? Or are you one who believes that he's past that now and we kind of know who Randle is and this is what we can expect going forward?
yeah, I would hope that he passed that. I don't believe in the stair step good and bad seasons. I think those were just I don't know. I before he became an all-star, he didn't have any good seasons. So
Mhm.
you might as well just say he was just like I would rather say that he's been an all-star 2 out of the last 3 years than to say that it will either be bad or good. Maybe this well, I don't want to say a surgery will be a blessing in disguise, but he just told us that he watches film now because he has to slow down because of his ankle. So I will hopefully I would think that Randle will be better. Like if we're just going to talk about just him personally and not the whole forward position, I personally think that he is going to be better, but just the position itself, just because there's nobody in it, that you know what I'm saying, we don't have any damn forwards, so I can't say that the actual position got better. But him, I actually think he's going to have a good season. I don't think Randle is going to have a bad season just because he had a bad season 2 years ago. No.
But did he really have a bad season 2 years ago?
For his standards, yes.
'Cause he was putting up some numbers. That what we call the bad season.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
He was inefficient and you couldn't really count on him because that was
Right.
the emotionality season. You didn't really know if he was going to pop off that game or not.
And even yeah, like she said, it was he was
You
less
didn't know.
efficient.
You didn't know it was that. It was, you didn't
Yeah.
know.
He's gonna blow a fuse at some point during the game. But I mean, he did put decent numbers.
He did.
Um,
He wasn't as efficient, but you're right. As far as the
Yeah.
counting stats, he was still 2010 or close to it.
But look how good he has to be for that to be a bad season. Like I think to me that's the point. Like Randall's bad seasons are a lot of players' good seasons.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So to me, I would rather think of it as him being an all-star 2 out of the last 3 seasons instead of me thinking that he's going to have a bad season just cause. Nah.
Right. I agree with you. Anybody else want to comment on the forward position? RJ Barrett, Hart, Randall. I don't know. I'm including Fournier. I think he'll be. I don't know if he's gonna play, but anyway, yeah. Any thoughts on whether the forward position is better or worse,
I
or
think
the same?
I think we're worse at the forward position. I'm still salty about the Obi Toppin, us getting rid of Obi Toppin, especially for 2 nonsense second round picks. But we don't want to revisit that. We're not strong at that position because we have, like you said, Julius Randle, and then way at the bottom you have whatever else is going on down there. We don't have a good backup plan that's power forward, and at the small forward we have a bunch of guys who are suspect power forwards. They're not really power forwards. They're like other guys, playing the role or pretending to be power forward. Listen, this is the NBA. These guys are getting exploited a lot by real small forwards and power forwards when Julius Randle is not on the floor. I feel like we're gonna have problems in with that position. And I know Tom Thibodeau is comfortable. He's quote unquote comfortable with playing Josh Hart as a power forward, but I don't know if that's gonna win us any game. I don't know how good that's gonna be for us throughout the season because.
Right.
The thing is, Josh Hart came late last season, so we didn't see him for a full season. Maybe teams will figure him out by the 3rd month. They didn't have time to figure him out last season.
Right.
Now they're studying him, and they're gonna be ready for him. They're gonna be more prepared for him. Same with RJ Barrett, because if they know that's the plan, that's what Tom Thibodeau is gonna do. then they're going to prepare for them to exploit those weaknesses that we have. And I call them weaknesses because these guys, they're not small forwards or power forwards. They're just playing the role. And you play a role in the NBA, you get burnt. You know that.
Are you more concerned about it in the playoffs than in the regular season, or you're just concerned for both?
For both, but more so. I mean, the regular season translates into the playoff at some point, because if during the regular season they could see what to do to the Knicks, how to play the Knicks to exploit those weaknesses, I mean, that's going to translate into the playoff. It's just going to intensify in the playoffs. It's going to get worse in the playoffs. Right. It's kind of like, we're like the one team last season that a lot of teams played zone defense against us because they realized we didn't know how to get out of it. And then they just kept doing it. More and more teams keep throwing zone defense at us whenever they play us. And it was very effective, and we just were never able to get out of it.
Right. So I think the shooting will help. I think they saw that we weren't a good
This season
right.
is gonna be a different story, obviously. But last season, that's what they did.
Right. I agree with Knicks 100 a GM. You can't hide your height in a 7-game series. There's things we were able to get away with in the regular, that any team is able to get away with in a regular season, that teams make it difficult for you to do that in the playoffs. And that's why you got to have super talented teams, so that if they take away your first option, you can go to the second. They take away your second, you can go to your third. I think that's going to be a problem in the playoffs if we have to go with Josh Hart at power forward or RJ Barrett. Geoff, the forward spots, do you think we're better, worse, the same?
I think we're the same, but I actually think we might be a little bit better.
Okay. All right, now talk to me.
Explain why. And I thought hard about this, and so maybe I thought wrong about it, but hear me out. Mm-hmm. So what do we want out of the power forward position? The backup, because Julius Randle's going to play 35, 36 minutes if he's healthy. Okay?
He might play more. We never thought about that. He might get more.
But if he's not healthy, our season is shot anyway. Right? So we got to go with the premise that he's going to be healthy and be able to play a normal share of the minute load. Right. Okay? Yes. That's the premise that I'm going with here anyway. So let's look at what we want in a backup power forward. We want rebounding, right? Who's got a better defensive rebounding percentage? Obi Toppin or Josh Hart?
Josh Hart.
It's Josh Hart, and it's not even close. Who shoots a better percentage from the corner three? And if 3-pointers in general, the answer is Josh Hart. Who is the player that has the better overall effective field goal percentage? If you guess Josh Hart, you got it right again. So what is it that Obi Toppin is bringing to the table in his 15 minutes per game that we can't get out of Josh Hart? Is that deficit in size so great? Was Obi so much better a defender at that taller size than Josh Hart? Because I don't think that's true. Even I would take Hart guarding anybody over Obi Toppin. So if we're keeping all these things in mind, and we're saying, so basically what I'm saying is this: Josh Hart's a better rebounder than Obi Toppin. Josh Hart's a better shooter than Obi Toppin. Josh Hart's a better defender than Obi Toppin. So if we're replacing Obi Toppin with Josh Hart, how are we getting worse at the backup power forward position?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of is, will Josh Hart get overpowered by power forwards? But listen, if you could lay the wood on Obi Toppin too, if that's the case.
Well, and how many backup power forwards are in there. Look, the game is going small anyway. I mean, a lot of times people criticize us because we have to have a rim protecting 5 in the game at all times. Well, if we have that rim protecting 5 and we go a little bit smaller at the 4, is that going to be a huge problem? I mean, a salute to you, old head. You're really smart, but I just don't see a lot of 4s posting up nowadays. That's not the game that it used to be. You see much more stretch 4s and guys who are shooting the 3. And if that's the case, and again, we're talking about backups here, right? Because I think we all agree that Julius Randle is going to be playing the lion's share of the minutes. So what we're talking about is 12 to 15 minutes a game per night. Now, again, if Randle gets hurt, that's a different story. But if Randle gets hurt, the season gets flushed down the toilet anyway. He's an all-NBA player. You're not going to have the same type of success you were going to have anyway. And then it may be time to maybe shift some assets around and bring in someone who's more reliable in at a longer time frame than Randle. But if we're just talking about for 15 minutes a game, I think Josh Hart is more than capable of filling in, and I think I just made the case that he's better filling in than Obi Toppin was last year. And I don't see that it's particularly close. And so if you can show me where the stats say that that's not correct, then I'll be on board with you. But just looking at the numbers, I think inserting Hart instead of Toppin makes us a better team, despite his lack of size.
Okay.
I mean, Kerr is playing him at the power forward in FIBA, and those guys are thick, especially that Lithuanians. Yeah, we did lose that game though. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say it was Josh Hart's fault. But yeah. He gets rebounds in traffic, so he's a tough guy. I think you're right. How many power forwards in the second unit are posting up? We'll see. But it brings up the age-old question, because we talk about this with Barrett as well. Barrett is 6'7", 6'8". He's the only 6'7", 6'8" guy we have. And then somebody else will say, well, I'll rather take someone who's smaller, if they can defend, than to have somebody in there who's taller. And they can't. You look the part. Okay, you look the part, but are you playing the part? And I guess that's the Obi Toppin, Josh Hart argument.
Does anybody feel comfortable with Hart playing the 4?
He could do it.
He can do it.
He could do it. I think Sims could do it in spot minutes.
I think that might be the answer. But it all depends on THIBS, obviously. But
right,
seem like to me, I would rather play Hart more minutes, especially if he's not starting. Like I would play Hart more minutes than put Josh Hart exclusively at the backup 4. But that's just me.
Yeah, and maybe that's part of the plan too. Like in a situation where that second unit, the opposing second unit, is really big, and Josh Hart is getting taken advantage of. Maybe that's the plan, to either go back to Randle, he gonna wear him out though, or put Josh Hart in. Isaiah Hartenstein. I think him and Mitch can play together. It's just that it's just a different. The game is just played different now. You're going in there with with twin towers.
True.
Yeah.
Well, at least if Hart does play more backup 4, he needs to be more offensively aggressive than I would think. Yeah. If him and Mitch are going to be on the floor at the same time.
Right. And then also, we're going to play Sims at 4. Hartenstein have to be at 5. I just don't think you could play Sims and Mitch together.
Oh no, that's Brick City. No man. No.
Yeah.
If I was the other team, I'll just foul them until they change.
Right.
I'll foul them every time the ref blow the whistle. As soon as the ball is in play, I'm fouling one of them until you take at least one of them out. I think that's crazy to play both of them at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Any thoughts on Knight and Roby? You think they played make the team now? I forgot his name. Armani the Great from Minneapolis, who was in the chat when we played when me and Freezy did the In the Neighborhood show today, 12 o'clock. Check it out on this channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. Me and Freezy, we go every week. We alternate channels on your lunch break around 12. This week it was on this channel. And Armani the Great Minneapolis is from Minnesota. So he said he watched the Timberwolves a lot. Knight didn't get a lot of run, but apparently it was because he was just stuck behind some other, Towns, Gobert, Nas Reed, I believe it was. But he's saying, that he can also take and hit the three. He's on the boards. He could put the ball on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I know Roby didn't play that well with San Antonio, but when he was with OKC, he averaged like 10 points a game. I don't know how much we want to put on that when you're on a really young team where you could take whatever shot you want. There may not have been a pecking order on that team. I'm not sure. First of all, Ajay, did you get a chance to comment on the forward spot?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Did.
All right. So
I complained about the Obi trade.
Oh, yes, you did. Yeah. Right. As soon as you said complain, right, it came right back.
I was about to say the same thing.
Right back.
And that's how you know. That's how you know. That's how you know.
Any thoughts on are you guys? I know Jerrell already said he ain't counting on Knight and Roby.
But I want to just say I'm not counting on them because they're unknowns. Well, Isaiah Roby he's a known because he's been on a couple teams, so I've seen more of him. Like I know Nathan Knight, like he does have skill. I just don't know if he's going to make this team. That's all. I don't want to make it seem like I think he's some bum because I think he does have skill, and Armani the Great is right that he can do all of those things. I just don't know if he could do it on a consistent basis and make this team. That's all. But I like him though. He's a good basketball player, especially to be still young. Isaiah Roby, I think the ship is kind of sailed with him though. I don't know about that.
Okay. Keith Turner, Bam. Josh Hart would not play Bam. He'll be playing second team guys. But they can stagger, sometimes they can stagger the minutes some. And THIBS will have to adjust.
Yeah. I think THIBS will put Josh Hart and Quentin Grimes on anybody. It don't matter how big it is. Quentin Grimes was checking Joel Embiid before.
Yeah, he did that. You're right.
Yeah, he looked like he barely came up to his waist, but yeah, he tried.
I hope that was a switch. I hope that wasn't deliberate.
Yeah, it was a switch, but I think THIBS wouldn't do anything to stop that switch. Let's just say that he'll just have to keep trying to guard him until they can't stop him.
Right. Paris Stugger, appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. We were 10-5 without Randle, so explain that. People stepped up. That's how I explain it.
I don't think that he played. I don't think he missed 15 games last year. Maybe that's over the last couple. He had played like all of the games until like the last 5, and then he missed a couple playoff games. I don't think that stat's accurate.
Right. Maybe he's talking over past few years. Maybe since he's been here.
And it's all about the situation. Who are we playing? How did the games go?
Yeah.
All of that. All of that matters.
Yeah.
Are you saying we were 10-5 without Randle, so that means we don't need him? Or are you saying we were 10-5 without Randle, so that's telling you a lot about Obi's impact?
And I do think those 15 games is probably accurate, but like Geoff said, it's probably within the last 2 years, not last year.
No, it wasn't last year. It's probably since he's been here.
What does that even mean? 10-5 without him. What does that mean?
He's saying that we can do better. We're a better team without Julius Randle. That's what he's trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as I said that, she took it right off the screen.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, no,
Like, come on. I
Hey,
mean,
you know
I'm
what?
just saying. No,
Yo, listen,
I have another super chat. I have another super chat.
I'm with
but
that,
I'm like-
man. It's like you move on to the next. Like if they to the next.
As soon as I said that, I saw the pink question. I was like, damn, Steph. Like, I blinked. I was like, where'd it go?
My goodness. Like, how do we come to these conclusions, man?
Listen, there was times when I'm not gonna take anything away from Obi. There was times when Randall didn't play that Obi stepped up.
Yeah, he did.
But you got to remember, a lot of the games that Randall didn't play were at the end of the season. Last year, the last 5 games, he got hurt. The year before, when we only won 37 games, he didn't play the last 5, 6. I don't think he was hurt. It was just
right.
Yeah,
it was over.
Yeah, it was over.
It was over.
You know, so and the team stepped up. You know, including Obi Toppin. You know, all right. Jesto 11, appreciate the super chat. Think we start 15-5. Continuity and IQ starts hot. Yes, that's what we said. Jesto 11. Some people on the panel member pointed to continuity. And I think somebody else also pointed to IQ getting off to a good start. Thank you for the super chat. And I agree. Oh, okay. All right. Travi Ryan, listen, talk to me. We know. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually. I don't know. They just pulling out.
I don't know.
No, that's crazy.
We were 10-5 without Obi Toppin this season.
Is Travi messing with the Paris Duggar?
I'm sure.
Right. But sure Paris Duggar is coming right back. I appreciate. Keep this going. Keep this going in the super chat. Highlight this. Paris Duggar, that wasn't accurate. It was 3-2.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
At least he came back with the correct joint. Respect.
Oh. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the centers. Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, Jericho Sims. Better, worse, same. I don't think we're worse, but better or the same.
I'll be quick. Like it's almost 12, so I'm gonna say push. It's just push. I don't think either one of them got better. I think they're gonna all 3 of those players are going to be the exact same players. Hopefully, for me, iHeart would actually be more assertive on offense. I would like the ball in his hands more, especially on the second unit. I'm not saying he's some point guard or the Joker like in Denver, but I don't know, he can pass the ball. He can play make a little bit. So I would like to see him be more assertive on offense. Hopefully shoot the 3 a little bit more. But it's all about THIBS trusting him with the ball in his hand. So until he does that, then that won't happen. So I think it's a push.
Okay.
I don't expect a huge leap from the 5 spot. I don't think we'll get worse, but I don't need them to do a whole lot besides defend and crash the offensive glass. So I think if they do those things well and that's right in their wheelhouse, all 3 of them, then they're playing. They can be stars in their role just by doing that without trying to do something that they're not. So I think for this team as presently constituted, I think they're just fine. Could we upgrade? For sure. But I mean, I don't think we're near as bad as some reports had us like the 18th best or something like that. I think I saw on Twitter the other day. I was like, man, I think that's a little bit rough. I mean, Hartenstein and Mitch did a really good job for us last year. Really good. And I expect more of the same.
Yeah. And they complement each other. And I feel calmer about Mitchell Robinson on the offensive end because, if teams try to, exploit that or whatever they, try to do, we could just take Mitchell Robinson out like we did last season and in the playoffs and put in Hartenstein. Not that Hartenstein is one of them knock you dead offensive players himself, but the threat, but the threat is there. So I like them, and both of them are really good offensive rebounders.
I think we're going to be a little bit better at the 5 spot because of obviously it's Hardenstein's second year. Somebody in the chat mentioned that he's going to be more comfortable. I agree with that. And remember, last year when he started the season, he was injured. He was playing injured, and as he got healthier, he got better. So if he start the season already healthy, I expect him to be somewhat better. And the more comfortable that he's gonna be, I think he's gonna shoot more. He's gonna be a little more comfortable taking some of these mid range shot, and probably even shoot a couple more 3-pointers than he did
I would be happy
this
with
past
that.
season. And I think it's gonna happen because Tibbs getting more comfortable with him. He's getting more comfortable with Tibbs' system. He's still gonna do the crash the board and all of this defensive stuff that he does, but on offense, he's gonna get a little bit more comfortable. I think we're gonna see a better version of Isaiah Hardenstein. So Mitch is gonna be the same. Mitch ain't going. Mitch is Mitch. So
Okay. And he's good at what he does. My complaints with Mitch on the offensive end, I'm not taking anything away from what he gives us on the defensive end and what he gives us in terms of second chance opportunities. Travis Ryan, it's accurate. I got the Stat Muse link. Knicks had a winning record without Obi. Okay. All right now. Danny Thomas, do you give IQ a contract extension? Yes. How many years and for how much? Anywhere to 80 to 100. Non-basketball question. Do you think the Giants beat the Cowboys? The Cowboys are favorite. The Giants are playing at home. There's going to be a lot of energy in MetLife Arena. I have the Giants beating the Cowboys.
Yes. That's all I'm going to say.
I have the Giants. Yeah. If anybody else wants to chime in on the question, feel free. But that's what I have. I hope you're right about Isaiah Hartenstein. I hope you're right. If we can get a little more shooting from him in terms of him being comfortable taking the shots, I think I would lose my mind if he start hitting threes, even if it's just one a game. Like if he took 3 a game, I think I would just lose my mind. I think that would really help us. I think Sims is going to be Sims. Mitchell Robinson, I'm not sure if I should expect anything more out of Mitchell Robinson than what we're getting. He's going into his 6th year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he just keep doing what he's doing. I don't need that free throw percentage to regress, though. Seem like every season it goes down a percentage point or two. So if he could just keep it where it's at for now.
Go from bad to battered to battered and battered and battered, battered.
To the bats.
Right?
Sherwin, to your mouth, to God's ears. I see Hartenstein. That's a lot. Hartenstein IQ 48 and a pick or 2. That's not a lot.
I'll do that
for BI. Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
I hope
IQ.
I hope it's not FIBA BI.
Right. Well, no. Of course not.
Right.
Brandon Ingram looking crazy out there. He's looking bad. That's my guy, but yeah, he's looking bad. But I think I do that.
Them braids, the braids. He should have got his hair braided right before he came up in there. That's part of the problem.
He went over there not being himself. That's what it was.
Right. He looks better in the second unit, but you're right. Let me tell you, Mikal Bridges looking right. He got a little funky shot, a little hitch in the shot, but he's still looking right over there.
Man, if only we can get that guy.
Yeah.
He's looking right.
Like I actually think he's more perfect for us than Brandon Ingram, but I have no doubt in my mind that he would never play for the Knicks as long as Brooklyn hold his rights. I don't see it.
Yeah, ain't happening.
Like much as I would like to happen, I gotta be realistic with some stuff. Like that, it's not gonna happen.
Right. Knicks won today. Not giving Hartenstein. My man has heart. Okay. All right. Okay. I like Hartenstein too. He's one of my favorite players on the team. Bridges is small too. He is a little thin.
Yeah,
Sherman pointed that out a few shows ago, but he working it though.
he's
He
6'7"
working on
small
it.
forward. Like,
Yeah, I mean he's just not a
I think
bulky.
it's small, not muscular, not
right.
Yeah,
not strong, small.
yeah,
The
yeah,
one that got
yeah.
away.
yeah. I mean he's
Amen,
not
Ron.
somebody that's going to create. Or he can create some off the dribble. Don't get me wrong, but he
Mhm.
don't have that shot creation like Brandon Ingram though. It's not at that level. But he can defend, he can hit the three, and he can put the ball on the floor and pull up. Right? It's in a
If you
straight
were
line,
one-
but he can do it.
And
If you were wanting to add a archetype of a player to this roster, though, I mean, Bridges has it. I mean, that's just that's an ideal fit right there.
one attribute that I will put over all of the stuff that you said, Steph,
Mhm.
that has to be mentioned is that Bridges, I mean, he never misses games.
Right? Yes.
He hasn't missed a game since he's gotten to the league, and Brandon Ingram, it seemed like he made out of paper mache sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt. No, you're
So,
absolutely right.
if we're going to pick simply because of that, I will always pick Bridges over him.
Right.
Hit the like button.
Yes. We got 89 in the building. I want to try to keep this internet stable since I'm in the rural country. I don't have the show up in another tab. So I'm not sure
Yeah,
how we're doing.
We
as
have
far as-
80. We only have 39 likes, man. That is insane.
Mitchell Robinson free throw percentage
90.
Yeah.
get lower every show.
Guys,
Yeah.
guys, come on, man. Give it. Show some love, man. Hit that thumbs up, man. Come on, show.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's free support. That's cheap free support, man. Show some love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
You
Like,
show
If
some
y'all
love.
sitting here, that's because you're enjoying the show.
Yeah,
E- e-
definitely.
Even if we say some negative about your favorite player, but you're still enjoying the show because you're still in here.
yeah,
Right.
man. I sat here and watched the whole football game talk about the Knicks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, get the likes up, man. We're talking Knicks basketball tonight, every Thursday.
Right. Yeah. Hit the likes, enter in the building.
Yeah.
Nah, we're not saying that. Fly Guy talk about he'll hit the like button if Jerrell can say the Giants are trash and we'll lose. Nah, we don't need that like, Jerrell.
Never.
We don't need that like.
Keep your like then.
That's a
I like myself.
a conditional like. That's not a real like.
I like myself enough, C-Mac. Never. I will never say that.
Right. Coach Bell or Belly. I'm not sure if I got it right. I'm a Liberty fan since day one, so am I. So I'm kind of annoyed. 2 female assistant coaches who were Liberty stars got coaching opportunities with other teams. No offense to Rick Brunson, but Teaspoon was a hooper. Yeah, no doubt about that. I don't think that's happening with Tibbs though. I don't think this organization is gonna be the ones that's gonna hire a female assistant coach. San Antonio did, New Orleans, because Teaspoon was with New Orleans. There's another player, I forget her name, another NBA player on the Washington bench. What's her name? For the Washington Wizards. I would be shocked if that happened with the Knicks.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked with those assistant coaches. I see that, but say if Tibbs does lose his job, I would not be shocked if Becky Hammond wasn't on the list of people.
You mean as a head coach?
Yes.
Not even an assistant. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Like I could see them not picking maybe assistants to go under Tibbs, but if they want a whole new voice under here, Becky Hammond played for the Liberty for a few years, starting point guard. So
she did.
I can see her being, I could just see it being an option. I'm not saying she'll get the job, but
right.
If her name does come up, I mean, she's been.
They should interview her. I
Yeah,
would.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Right.
she's qualified. Like I wouldn't be mad at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no
Wouldn't be
doubt
mad at
about it. No doubt. Appreciate you, Coach. Let's do. We don't have to run through all of them. I just want to go into some skill sets. So, are the Knicks better by position? We went through guards, forwards, and centers. Are the Knicks better by skill set? And we don't have to go through these one by one. I'll just mention them, and then you could talk about whichever ones you want to talk about. Are we a better shooting team? Are we a better team creating shots off the dribble? Are we a better, the same, or worse rebounding team? Are we a better, the same, or worse fast break team? Second chance points, defense, any other category you want to name. Are we better, worse, or the same? And you could pick any one or a few of those and talk about it.
I'm not gonna lie. As you was going through the categories, I was starting to get sad because in my head I was saying no to all of them. Like I said before, other than like natural progression, we didn't add anybody but Dante DiVincenzo really. So when it comes to shooting, yes, we got a little better because he's a better shooter than Obi. That was really the main change. Obi out and Dante in. So for the most part, I don't think we got better, but Dante DiVincenzo is a better basketball player than Obi. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a better basketball player all around than Obi. So we got better when it comes to maybe talent, but the stuff that we actually do on the floor, skill set wise, I don't see us getting that much better unless you think Dante DiVincenzo is going to really play like 30 plus minutes.
I don't. I was able to scratch up. I was doodling today. I was able to scratch in about 22 minutes. He might get more, but I was able to scratch. I was able to get him 22.
22.
I was able to get him 22. He probably can get more if you want to bring RJ under 28. I got RJ at 28. I only took 2 minutes. I took 2 minutes from RJ.
So with that exercise, what did you give quickly?
I don't think Quickly's minutes. I think I took a minute from Quickly, so he went from 30 to 29. I think Grimes, who also played 30, went to 28. So, and then I gave him Obi 16 minutes.
Okay.
Plus those, not necessarily somebody, it's not direct. It's not.
Yeah,
direct.
I know. I get it.
So that got him to 21. Those 5 minutes plus that 16 got him to 21. Now, if Obi comes down, if Grimes comes down to 26 and IQ comes down to 26 and RJ Barrett comes down to 26, that's another 6 minutes. Now we got him at 27. So all of those guys would be around 26 to 28 minutes. And that might be how it goes.
I actually was going to say, I actually think that sounds, for me, that might be better. I think RJ should play less. But that don't mean THIBS think that. We'll see. Yeah. And Josh Hart has a lot to say with those minutes too.
Yeah.
Depending on where he plays. So
no doubt.
Yeah, but to answer your question real quick, I don't think we got better in any of those categories except for the stuff that Dante DiVincenzo flourishes in that Obi couldn't, mainly shooting and shot creation.
Right. Oh, so you did mention shooting and shot creation.
Yeah, those are probably the only ones that we got better at skill wise because of that one-on-one, switch out.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think we're a better shooting team, as he said, but I actually think we're going to be a better defensive team. I think that you have more versatility in your lineups. You can always have 2+ defenders at the guard spots on the floor to help out. You're going to see a lot of 3-guard lineups, which I think is perfect and it's fine. So I actually think we're going to be a better defensive team this year. I love the toughness that DiVincenzo brings, and I kind of think it's going to be spread. Those minutes are going to be spread out relatively evenly between Grimes and Quickly and Barrett and Josh Hart, and I think they're going to play roughly the same amount of minutes, give or take. And I think it's going to be. I think Thibodeau is going to play the players that the combinations that he thinks are working at at that moment. So don't be surprised if you see games where Barrett doesn't close.
We've seen that
Oh,
already.
yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at that at
But
all.
I think you'll see it more now. But he's got more tools in his bag. He's got more options, and I think he's more than comfortable with Hart closing, more than comfortable with DiVincenzo closing, more than comfortable with IQ closing. I think he's comfortable with having Grimes close, and I think he's comfortable with having Barrett close. So that's 6 guys for 3 spots. So but I think with that group of 6, I think you have a lot of defensive versatility. I don't think we particularly got better in the shot creation department, possibly slightly because DiVincenzo, has a little bit of that in his game, but I don't see him being used in that role as much as I do a spot up shooter who's gonna, go to the corner and just kill people. And I think he'll be really good at that. And so, I think definitely we're going to be a better defensive team. I think we're going to shoot better, and I just think we're going to be better in general. I think we've got a lot of upside to this team. I think there's a lot to look forward to, and I think we're going to be better in most categories, to be honest.
Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, as far as shot creation, we're looking at Randle, Brunson, and IQ. Did I miss anybody?
I don't think so. That's who I would
Well,
go.
hopefully, nah, she ain't Miss RJ. She maybe Grimes.
Wow.
I expect him to take a little bit of a leap when it comes to that this year.
If you put Grimes in there, you're gonna have to put RJ Barrett. Like Grimes, I gotta see it. I gotta see it to
just because I've seen it a little more from him, and he can shoot better off the dribble than RJ can. So I'm not saying that it's definitely gonna happen, but hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah. Ajay, and then I'll get to the chat. Keep the comments coming. I'll highlight it in a minute.
I think we got better. Natural progression. I think some of those guys will be better coming this season. Grimes probably going to shoot a little bit better. Obviously, DiVincenzo is a better shooter than Obi Toppin, so that's going to give us better shooting. You got to remember how Thibodeau runs his offense. Is Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson is the centerpiece or the centerpiece of the thing, and then you got the satellites who shoot 3-pointers. So if you have guys who shoot a better percentage, it's gonna work out a lot better than it did last year. So I'm hoping RJ Barrett start the season in his mid-season form. If he does, that's also going to make a big difference. As I mentioned a little while ago, I think Isaiah Hartenstein is going to have a better shooting year, a better offensive year altogether. So I think we get back. I mean, those guys, they already have those skills, but it's a matter of their comfort level. So these guys were new. Josh Hart, he only played a couple of months last year, so he's going to be better this year. Training camp and all that stuff put all together. So I think we're better. We're a better team than we were last year. How much better? I don't think it's like like you would say, not leap better, but slightly better.
Right.
And that's why when we did this show with the how many wins, I think we're gonna win a few more games than we did last year. I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I think our shooting, the shooting has to be better. I just feel like quickly Grimes, DiVincenzo, the shooting will be better. The shot creation, I don't see that. Maybe like you said, Jerrell, if Grimes starts, I just don't see a role for him on this team, creating shots off the dribble unless he's attacking a closeout. I just don't, rebounding. Listen, the Knicks were top 10, I think even top 5 in offensive and defensive rebounding. The Knicks were a good rebounding team. I don't think that's worse. I think that's better because DiVincenzo is a really good rebounder as a guard as well. I think he averaged 5 rebounds a game in like 26 minutes or something like that. Somebody can fact check that
No, that
for
sounds
me.
right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Fast
that's
break points might be worse. But even though I don't think Obi Toppin leaked out as much last year as he did the year before, I mean, you can argue that because we have more guards, you got, RJ, who's his own fast break. You got Josh Hart, who's his own fast break. Maybe fast break points might be better. Maybe. And I think the defense will get better. Because first of all, we're not starting behind the 8 balls to having started Brunson and Fournier for, however many games we started them. And how much worse can it be? We were ranked 19th in defensive rating.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like we were top 10. We were ranked 19th in defensive rating. So I do think the defense will be better. Geoff, did you?
I just a couple more things. I did get to speak, but I think our defensive rating really improved in the playoffs. So I think that you
yes.
can see that the potential is there to be a good defensive team. And it's interesting that between RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, our 2 worst 3-point shooters percentage-wise on the team, take like 13 a game between the 2 of them. Like
who's this? Randle and who?
And RJ. Randle shot like 8 a game, and I think Barrett shot like 5. And so I don't that is really the weak. But again, Barrett had his worst 3-point shooting season of his career. He's shown in other seasons that he was a capable shooter from there. I think in his second season, I think he shot 40%. So, and again, there were no fans in the stands and all that stuff. But, I think shot selection has a lot to do with that because he was mainly shooting from the corners. But, maybe we can get back to that and be more effective. If Randle can just stay at 34, 35%, that's not great, but it's enough to really get us doing what we need to. And so I think I think how those 2 shoot is kind of going to be the key to how good an offense we're going to be, and whether we see improvements or if we don't see improvements, I think it's going to be directly linked to those 2's inability to knock down shots.
Right. Coach Bell is saying something. I don't know Coach Bell. Or is it Bell? Let me know if I'm saying it right. I don't know if he watched Freezy and I's show, but this is a point Freezy made about the first time Randle and Obi battle at the Garden could rattle Julius mentally. Crowd is going to be cheering Obi. Now, Freezy mentioned something for those who watched the show earlier today, that Randle should be better because Obi is gone. And because Obi is gone, he doesn't have to hear the fans cheering for Obi. I couldn't understand that at all because Obi was never a threat. So whether the fans are screaming for Obi and what have you, but I guess he put it in a context eventually as a distraction. Like that distraction from Randle is gone. Coach Bill is bringing it up either. I don't see Randle getting rattled by the Garden calling Obi's name. Maybe a little annoyed, maybe peeved that he's an all-star, all-NBA. He's putting all this energy out, and you guys are yelling for somebody else. Okay, fine. Disappointed, doesn't like it, but rattled. And Freezy brought this out too. I don't know if he thought he would be rattled, but it would be less of a distraction. Any thoughts on that?
Nah, I don't think it'll affect Julius Randle that much. If anything, I don't see if it being a relief. I don't think Julius Randle, I wouldn't say that he doesn't care, but I don't think he ever viewed Obi as a threat to take any minutes from him anyway. So personally, I don't think it's going to rattle him at all.
I agree. I don't think it makes a difference to him.
Well, interestingly though, when Obi was out injured, Randle absolutely went off. That was the month where he was averaging 30 a game and just killing folks. So
Okay.
I think there may be a little bit of credence to it, but in a positive sense, when we play Indiana, I think he's thinking barbecue chicken. Like there's no way Obi Toppin can guard him. Like
Right.
where? I put him in the post, I'll cook him. Put him outside, I'll cook him some more. You know, I mean, Obi can't guard Randle. What are you kidding me? Randle
Right.
push him around like a rag doll. Like so, from that standpoint, the first time they play together, I think he's going to destroy Obi.
Yeah. I'm just saying. This was it's just a coincidence. This is the second time today somebody brought that up. All right. Did I get to? Oh, we became more of a scrappy team, more play making, more experience too. That was Trav B. Ryan. Keith Turner, our size hurts us from becoming a better defensive team. Okay. Knicks won today. Dante not necessarily replacing IQ. Dante is the backup point guard. Quickly is the backup two guard. I have to say, I think Grimes will stay in the starting lineup. And I don't even know if it's about him beating out this one and that one. I just think it just works better for us. But he has to get that ball handling down. Like you just can't have Brunson bringing the ball up every single time, and you're in the backcourt and there's no help. But I'm loving on paper a DiVincenzo IQ pairing in the
Yes,
in the second
Second
unit.
unit.
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much so.
Yeah.
I honestly like JB and Dante DiVincenzo in the first unit too.
Okay. What do you think that gives us?
I don't know. It gives us like you said, it gives us another ball handler. I know Dante DiVincenzo would be more assertive to shoot the basketball more than Grimes. At least that he showed already.
Right.
And I don't think the defense will be that much of a drop off. But like we said before, Grimes' versatility is what's different defensively. Because Dante DiVincenzo is a good defender.
Right.
But he's not a more versatile defender than Grimes is. Grimes can play bigger people. Just hold the same IQ Grimes defensive argument. So, but could he take his spot? Yes.
To me, having another ball handler next to Brunson is imperative.
Yeah.
And if he can also shoot, I'm all for it. Shot legacy super high on DiVincenzo. He's probably our third best player behind Randle and Brunson.
Okay.
Wow. Shot legacy super high.
Okay.
Coach Brunson does need to have his time managed. Smaller guards are more likely to get injured. Yes, that's a sentiment going around the Knick community. I know Freezy says that a lot. Quiet money, he can dribble and pass and play cohesively with Dante in the starting lineup, whereas Obi hardly ever got meaningful minutes with the starters. Yeah, of course. Because Randle was there. All right. Anything else before we get out of here?
Nah, man, salute to the chat. It was a great show.
Great show as usual.
Salute to the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. I think Tibbs might go situational small now. Hart at power forward and Julius at center.
It didn't seem like he liked playing Julius as center before, because we could have went small like that with Josh Hart last year. but we didn't really do that often. So I don't know. Like I could see it. I think it's a possibility, but it didn't seem like THIBS like that because he
He
could have did
wants
it
that
with,
rim protector.
right. He could have did it with Obi, and he refused to put him and Randle together at the same time.
I think you're going to see I Heart Sims or Mitch Rob on the floor one at all times.
I will say if he does elect to go to Jeff's earlier point at power with Julius and Hart, you're going to be able to rebound the position. I think that might have been a concern with Randle and Obi, but with Hart, at least you'll be able to rebound the position. Yeah. Anybody else? Any last words before we get out of here?
What you got going Sunday, boss?
Sunday,
having your Giants show?
Yep, Die Hard Giants is back. We just had a nice show yesterday. Salute to Steph for dropping by. Salute to Freezy and who else?
Eddie C.
Eddie C was on the show. Salute to him.
Corey Lee, active in the chat.
Yep, active in the chat. He asked for the link. I told him I was gonna give it to him on Sunday. But Sunday, every Giants game, Die Hard Giants goes on at halftime. Do a little halftime report, and then I do pretty much like a watch along for the rest of the game. So Sunday will be no different, even though we do have a late game. So I'll probably be going on at halftime, which will be around like 9:45 probably, because the game's not going to start until almost 8:30. So Die Hard Giants is back. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Like I don't want to give no predictions, like Steph said. I don't want jinxes. Now I'm saying I don't want jinxes.
Yeah, and the link to Jerrell's show is in the description. So please subscribe to the channel, support the channel, help it grow. Yeah. Anybody else? I'm working on I've been so, I wouldn't say lazy, but just behind. But I'm working on the latest edition of the newsletter. Similar, countdown to training camp. I want to talk about the guards as well. So give my expanded, opinion. I'll do both the audio podcast and I'll talk a little bit about it in the newsletter as well. Yes, Jerrell.
Real quick, Coach has another question about the Germany game. Like, what's our prediction? What USA versus Germany? I feel
that's going to be a tough game.
I forgot we was even playing Germany. I'm not going.
Yeah, I think it's 8:40. Somebody check that. I believe it's at 8:40. Corey Lee is in the chat. Salute, my brother.
Salute, Corey. Salute, Corey.
I think it's an 8:30 game. I think the Knicks. I think USA wins, but I don't think this is going to be an easy game. Schroeder has been killing.
Right.
And FIBA.
Yep.
Oh, that last game he shot like 4 of 29.
Oh, really?
Oh, did he?
Okay. Well, I hope we get more of that.
It was something crazy. Like they won anyway, but they have both the Wagner boys on their bench. Mo and Franz are on that team, and they've got Daniel Thies at the 5 spot, and I'm missing somebody who's who else I think an NBA player. But anyway, I'm more scared of the Wagner boys than I am of Schroeder. I think we can contain Schroeder, especially with Ant.
Man, if we lose to the Wagners,
but FIBA USA, they streaky. They remind me of the Knicks when they're shooting. Oh, it's beautiful. When they're not hitting shots, here we go, grinding it out.
Brandon
Ingram. Yeah, Brandon Ingram. He's playing better with the second team. Ant-Man, the last game, I think he only had 3 points or something like that. But Bridges was right that game.
Right.
He was right that game. What I do like about the USA, they do have defenders. Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards.
He's different.
He's different.
Automatic.
You see him on the defensive end though?
Yeah, I'm talking about defense, AJ. He's like
now I
don't a lot better.
Yeah. Now I don't know, when he gets back to Minnesota, having to carry the load he has to carry, if he'll be able to play that level of defense, but the ability is definitely there. He has the luxury of doing that because they have so many other scorers on this team. But when he locks in defensively, so you got him defensively, you got Mikal Bridges defensively, And there's somebody else.
Well, Janet Jackson Jr.
Janet.
Janet Jackson.
Oh, I was like Janet.
Not Miss Jackson if you can. But he's a good defender, but he seems like he's a terrible rebounder though. Like I don't know he on when it comes to the rebounding the basketball, but he does block a lot of shots and he does play good defense, but he's not a good rebounder at all though for his side.
Right. And he's
foul prone. Reason why Hart's in the starting lineup, huh?
Right.
Get those rebounds.
For the rebound, yeah. And he's foul prone in FIBA, just like he's foul prone in the NBA. I don't know why they didn't think they needed another center because he doesn't rebound well.
They actually do.
I'm okay with them giving Walker Kessler a bunch of minutes. I like that.
I wanted Kessler. I wanted Kessler in that draft.
I was about to say that. Like they should be playing Walker Kessler more.
Yeah. But Kessler does get, depending on the matchups, he does get time and with foul trouble. He gets time.
Right.
Yeah, he definitely gets time. But there's another defender on that team. Josh Hart, Josh Hart is a good defender.
On our team?
On the USA team. Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, Ant-Man. Bobby Portis does his thing too.
I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, he plays defense. At least
Halliburton plays defense too.
Plays defense.
I mean, he's not a lockdown. Let me tell you about this Banchero. Oh my goodness, he looking right too.
He's ridiculous.
He's
like,
good.
Oh my!
The league is in good hands. Let's just say that.
I'm not usually into non-Knick players, but Paolo Banchero is fun to watch, man. I love watching that guy play.
That skills and the defense too. That was right coming out of Duke. Remember we was talking about him and Jabari Smith, and we was like, I don't know about Banchero's defense. Is what?
Yeah,
he turned that around.
Yep,
he's the deal, man. He's the deal.
Yeah.
Much as I hate giving Dookie's credit, being a Tar Heel fan,
I know. I see you over there turning purple. But
I don't like it. I don't like this Banchero talk, but I gotta give it up to him. Like he's nice. He can play.
He's nice, and his body then toned up. He came there, but it's even better now. NBA body. He got the mid range. He got he might be leading the team in blocks
boys too. Orlando gonna be nice.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, he might be leading the USA in blocks. Every time you turn around, he's blocking a shot. Banchero now.
So athletic.
Yeah. So, that's tomorrow. If you're interested, USA versus Germany, 8:40 a.m. And someone said earlier that Canada and Slovenia, 4:30. I don't think I'll be making that.
4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. It's almost 4:30 now. I'm going to sleep. No, I ain't watching nothing but the back of my eyelids at 4:30. No.
4:45 actually.
4:45. All right, extra 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm giving that extra 15 minutes, AJ. No. No way.
Yeah. Anyway, Jerrell. Oh, I still got you up, Coach. All right. Where are we? Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Yeah. All right. Jerrell, Geoff, Ajay, I appreciate you. We'll be back next week, Thursday. We'll be talking about have the Knicks close the gap on the rest of the Eastern Conference teams. Yeah. And my newsletter and my audio podcast will drop before the next podcast. Before the next time we're on air, I should say.
Hit the like button on the way out.
Hit the like button on the way out. Until next time, family.
Peace.
You tune in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Right now. Please pull over with no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, Step from the MBK, born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at?
Dope Soul.